Hey, what's up, everyone? What's up, Team Fearless? We've got another episode with Richie Condowall from PriceLabs, and today we are talking about new tools with the neighborhood data feature, which is my favorite place to spend time and hang out on PriceLabs. But guys, just in case you didn't know, you want to make sure you go to thefearlessinvestors.co/PriceLabs, thefearlessinvestors.co/PriceLabs. I'll throw it up on the screen here in a little bit, but all of our episodes, everything we talk about with Richie, all the tips, all the news, all the information on PriceLabs, it's all there. You can check out every single episode. Plus, you can get started with PriceLabs for a free 30-day trial along with a free onboarding training. So all of that there, thefearlessinvestors.co/PriceLabs. Richie, thanks for jumping on with us, man. And excited to see the updates with neighborhood data, because this is really, to me, like, this is the foundation of how I make decisions on my prices by looking at neighborhood data. So I'm really excited to see what you've got today.
Amazing to hear. And I'm very excited to share what we have introduced and changed in our neighborhood data tab. Hello to everyone who's listening in. Really excited to be back on this video. Kyle, if I'm sharing my screen, I'm not sure if we can bring that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. All right.
All right. Okay. So I'm gonna just orient you quickly if you're new to PriceLabs. If you're in PriceLabs and if you're reviewing a calendar for a property, right next to the calendar. So this is the calendar. Right next to the calendar is the neighborhood data tab, and that's the one that Kyle was talking about. It's full of all kinds of fun stuff around, like how are you getting priced versus how is your market getting priced, etc., right? And so you can discover how you're trending. Ignore the data set that you have in this one. It's a little bit of a dummy data set. Let me actually quickly change that and make it more appealing. But yeah, so you can see how you're getting priced. And now some of you, I imagine, have already been using PriceLabs. So I wanted to introduce some new tools that we have introduced in market data, in neighborhood data tab, right? The first thing that I want to do is, if I scroll down on neighborhood data, you will see a history section. History section is for you to quickly understand the market comp set that we are pulling up for you. What is it doing over the last year? And you can change it to last 2 years as well if you'd like to. But what you can quickly understand is, my market had roughly, for example, in July 2024, 40% occupancy, right? And you can see if you were doing better or worse. What I also like is, for example, I can look at booking windows, and this is a property in New Orleans, 2-bedroom, right? So I can quickly see, on a median booking window, and if you weren't sure what median was, you can look at it here, right? A median booking window on average is about 20 odd days, right? So I don't really want to kick in my last minute discount before that 20 odd days, right? And I may, if I'm making some changes by month, I could look at that. But I know, hey, like, I don't have to panic if I am still like 40 days away from my booking date, right? Because bookings are yet to come in. Same, you can experience, like, what does the market length of stay? It's like fairly flat, not very seasonal market. But in some markets, you'd see more seasonality here. And similarly, you can understand like what kind of market ADRs are being charged, right? Now, what does market here mean? If you scroll up, you'd know, if you've already been using neighborhood data, you know there's 3 things. Like, if you click that, you can see nearby listings, which is PriceLabs' default comp set that PriceLabs uses to price your properties and to understand the market. But you could also come up and choose your own if you were using market dashboards, right? While you're in this comp set, the other change that we have introduced is adding a markup or markdown. The reason for this is, oftentimes, maybe with on top of PriceLabs pricing, maybe you're adding 15% for OTA commissions, and that's the final price, right? You may want to say, oh, I want to add 15% to my price to simulate what the final price on OTA would look like. And so if I do that, now you'd see in neighborhood data a new row come up that will tell you, if you see that, I'm going to maybe not zoom in. I guess it's visible. So you can see this final price plus 50%, 15% markup. So I can see, hey, here, again, dummy data, but my price would have been 356, but with 15% markup, it's going to be 409. And how does it compare relative to the market when they're pricing, right? So you'll have
I like that right there, because usually what I've had to do in the past, Richie, is right, I would have to go in and I would go and either apply a manual increase of 15%, or I would just have to bust out my calculator and, like yours says, what, $100. So I would just go 115 would be the base price, and I'd save and refresh, and I'd look at it, and then I would see what that number would be. But this saves a lot of time. I want to go back just really quickly. Can you go back down to the market
yes,
history there? That's
yes,
huge, because I mean, for me, I've always used PriceLabs for future and AirDNA for past. And so this
okay,
allows me to kind of integrate that all into one product in one location. So I don't have to go and have two tabs open and wonder, oh, well, PriceLabs is already updated, but I'm still waiting on AirDNA to finish up July, or, yada, yada. So I love this. I think you made a really good point there that I want to make sure people actually let this sink in. Yeah, exactly. Right there. The
yeah,
booking window, right? Like, there is, again, guys, there's no such thing as a cookie cutter way of pricing your properties or setting up your properties. It's all market dependent. It's all dependent on, do you want to be in the 25th percentile and just make some money, or do you want to be in the 75th to 90th percentile and make some big bucks, or maybe you have a big mortgage and you have to do that. This right here, like, if you're saying, well, I want last minute bookings, and you think to yourself last minute in your mind is 7 to 10 days, this says otherwise. This says to me that if I am not booked within 25 days, it's last minute bookings. I need to get something booked. Am I thinking of that right, Richie? I see your face here.
yeah,
Tell me
yeah,
where
yeah.
I'm wrong on that.
Not last minute. So 25 days. I do the reverse of this, Kyle, because
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing here is this is the median booking window. So think of it as
Sure.
for all the bookings that come in, right? When is the 50th percent of bookings coming in, right? And so
Okay.
50th percent of bookings are coming in around that 25-day mark, right? Maybe I would maybe I would kick in the last minute discount a little bit later than
Yeah.
25 days. So, like if you see, for example, PriceLabs kicks in the last minute discount at 15-day mark for this market,
Okay.
right? So a little bit, the reverse though is very helpful, because oftentimes what I hear from people is, especially when they're, have been underpricing,
Mm-hmm.
um, and as a result they're getting booked sometimes like 6 months in advance or
Right.
9 months in advance or something like that, right? And then they come to PriceLabs, and like the booking date is still 60 days away or 90 days away, and they start getting nervous. And so it's important to bring that into context to saying, hey, understand your market booking window, median booking
Yeah.
window, right? And then absolutely right. Maybe at 25-day mark you can start doing last minute discounts, but I'd probably like, and that depends, right? So say something for like July, where it only had 20 days of median booking window, right? I'd probably consider doing that maybe a little bit, like maybe a 10-day mark, right?
Right.
But something like a Feb, which has like a 33-day booking window, I may consider doing the last minute discount at 20 days. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. I think we're on the same page here. I think what I want people to understand is that um, if you're waiting until the last minute to get
Oh,
booked, you're always going to be losing money, because
yeah,
now you're just like, hey, I need to get a booking, and so I'll go from $100 a night down to $80 a night because I just want to get booked. But if
yeah,
we know our booking window, I'll rephrase, instead of saying last minute, just, hey, it's kind of time to like start getting proactive with your pricing and say, okay, if 50% of the market is booked within 25 days and I'm
yeah,
not, that to me is like yellow flag. Maybe I need to do something. Maybe it's not even changing pricing. Maybe it's just changing one of the photos just to
yeah,
accentuate what's going on during that time seasonally. For example, if you're in a a really hot area and you've got a pool and that's not your cover photo, I would change that to your cover photo because it's hot season, right? And so things like
okay,
that, where you're just like, hey, if I'm not booked, but 50% of the market is booked,
yeah,
I need to do something a little bit different here. It might be pricing, it might be marketing, it might be a few different things, but then if you're within 7 to 10 days, then you're doing last minute. But again, if you're waiting that long, you're typically going to lose
Yeah.
money.
No, completely agree, right? Like for this market, for example, we start discounting at 15 days, right? And this number, like I'm not sure if you see this last minute, right? Where we're doing market driven. And so we're starting the discount at 15 days. Again, we're looking at New Orleans. If we were to look at another market, this number may look very different from 15 days to something else, right? But completely agree, right? I mean, I think these metrics are helpful for you to put into context how you want to, like, one, building understanding of your market, and then like whether you're talking about last minute, or maybe you're also talking about minimum stay, or maybe just like you're building your projections to saying, hey, where does the occupancies, what I'm expecting in terms of occupancy, right? So it helps in all of that scenarios, right? Like you could be like, August 2023 was like really poor for New Orleans, right? But maybe August generally is. If I just look at the same in 2 year data, not really. August 2022 was okay, but 2023, I'm not sure why, but look bad. But kind of everyone knows if you're in New Orleans, Feb, March, April are going to be a better months. And then summer is going to be not as great. And then again, September, October, November will again pick up, right? So it's helpful to put that into context as you're also thinking about your business, your plans.
Absolutely. Cool. Any other tools to show us on neighborhood data?
Yeah, so I'm going to go up. And so remember, we talked about we have last seen prices, we have added markup. Again, if you go in here, you'd see markup, markdown. You can add a fixed or a percentage, or you can just go with no markup. Generally, most people have some kind of an OTA percentage, like Kyle said, and so you can do that, right? Along with that, what you can also now do is, so we used to show you all the listed price, and based on that, where are you in terms of listed prices? But we've also introduced a market booked price 50th percentile. What that allows you to do, if you click that, is to see where the market currently is booking at 50th percentile of, like right. So all the bookings that have come in, we take the average almost, right, and we say, hey, where it's getting booked at, right? So you can almost see where this market is getting booked at right now. So that helps you establish, am I, more often than not, people have like, oh, PriceLabs is pricing too high, right? And so it helps you establish like where are you relative to where the bookings are coming in. So that's next. And then I'm going to also hop in and say, Kyle, are you familiar with completed calendar? Can you use that?
Absolutely. Yep.
So we have introduced a few more changes on the computer calendar. Number one, we've added photos right here. So you have some more context of as you add computers. Remember the markup that we've added? So now you also see that row here. So final price plus 15% markup. So you can see your pricing a little bit more in context of competitors, right? We have also introduced cleaning fee here. So you can see how much cleaning
Oh,
fee
good.
is your
Yeah.
competition charging, and then also introduce the service fee model that they're on, right? Whether they're on the host only fee or split fee model, right? And then finally, sometimes there might be some specific competitors that you wanted to add and they were not visible on the competitor calendar. And so you could add them. Now you can also come right here to add competitor calendar, right? Add competitor, paste the Airbnb URL, click verify, we'd verify if that listing is in our database already or if we need to, and then click add. And that way you'll also see that listing then pop up right here.
It's good. That's good.
So those are the tools that we've introduced. Market history section, Kyle and I has actually spent a bunch of time on this right now to talk about how you can use this. The markup on neighborhood data so that you can see what your prices look like. Market booked prices so that you know that, right? And then going down to customer completer section, again, you know the 15, like the markup that you add will also show up here. You can see cleaning fees, you can see their service fees. And then if you wanted to add a specific competitor, you can always go here, click add, and then add that. Now, limitation, you can only add up to 10 competitors, but usually, hopefully, you're not looking at more than that to understand the market. So that's my spiel, Kyle. Back to
Yeah,
you.
no, I love it. I think the biggest thing, if you guys are not familiar with the neighborhood data, if you want to scroll up just really quickly, Richie, because these tools are great, but if you're not familiar with neighborhood data, the biggest thing that I really recommend is make sure that little filter in the upper right-hand corner there. Yeah, that for the red little lines,
Yeah.
that you are comparing your property to like for like. So, Richie, you just mentioned a 2-bedroom. Can we just zero in on 2 bedrooms only really quick here? And
Yes.
let's just say that it's a really, really basic 2-bedroom, 2-bath, nothing too fancy about it. What I just like to do when I go in here and look at my competition is make sure that I am being reasonable about what I'm comping it to. So then I'll just click on to remove the 50th to 75th percentile and the 75th to 90th percentile, so that I know, hey, I have a basic place. It's not anything special. I just need to make sure that my prices are right around where that gray is at. And vice versa. If it's an amazing 2-bedroom property with all the fancy stuff and it's got a hot tub and it's got everything that you would want to be in the 90th percentile, then you check out that part of it. And that's really important. I think that's something that people don't quite grasp, and they want to use all the tools, but they don't have the foundational knowledge of the neighborhood data. And so that's just the biggest recommendation I have for people before you get into the really big time tools. Make sure you have the fundamentals figured out on neighborhood data. And it just starts with knowing your property and knowing what type of properties you need to look at to compare it to see where you should be priced.
Perfect, perfect. And just like quick tip here. So like, for example, this is obviously a dummy listing. And so you're seeing the black line quite below that gray line. But if I wanted to move that black line up, I'm going to essentially move my base price. So if I move my base price to say 150, maybe that would do it, maybe not, right? But that will then move my black line up. So everything on that line would just move up, and you'd see that in a second. Or in a few seconds here load up, right? And you'd see it all of it move up, and that way you know where you are related to base price. Again, my property is dummy property, and so I was playing with it. But of course, you can also use the help me choose a base price tool to come up with better base prices. But we'll quickly show you what I was talking about here.
Yeah, and especially during those peaks too, Richie. Like I've got a property in South Bend, Indiana, and Notre Dame games happen 4 to 5 times a year, and it's going to shoot up a ton. And so I might actually go in and manually change those just so I can make sure I'm maximizing those high peaks.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
yeah.
110%.
So yeah, you can kind of see the changes here, guys, how the black line has moved up. Mess around with it. Make sure you have the fundamentals of neighborhood data, but then also make sure you're checking out these new tools once you have that foundational knowledge. Richie, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate you jumping on. And guys,
Thank you
once
for having
again,
me again.
fearlessinvestors.co/PriceLabs to check out every single episode and to check out how you can get started with PriceLabs if you have not already. Thank you, Richie.